So, people are saying that Ozempic has killed the body positivity movement. And we'll put this article up that I saw. And it says that Amy Schumer deletes all pre weight loss photos from social media as she shows off her trim figure in new snaps. And she's part of a lot of celebrities that have gone on Ozempic. And I'm going to throw out a few names. This is allegedly on Ozempic. I think some of these women have said and come out and said that are on Ozempic. I think others people have just assumed. I will say, I feel bad for anyone who just loses weight in this day and age because I think people just assume automatically you're on Ozempic. But Rebel Wilson was someone who was really into body positivity, as well as Meghan Trainor, Oprah, Kelly Clarkson, and Lizzo. And a lot of them are allegedly on Ozempic. So I don't know, what do you think about all of this?
Yeah, I'm honestly not against Ozempic. I think a lot of people, obviously, we don't know the long-term effects of it, so that's the iffy part, right? Because it hasn't been on the market for too long. But I mean, if you're wanting to feel your best, you're wanting, to become skinnier, adopt healthier habits, and you're simultaneously going to the gym and trying to eat right, then I don't see the problem with this.
The main crux of this for me is a lot of these women, and I can think of Remy Bader, for example, on TikTok. She's a big influencer, and a lot of these people have promoted this body positivity trend where, frankly, I'm just being honest, a lot of these women were obese, and it was about that you shouldn't, slim down because that's standards in society, and you shouldn't kowtow to these standards and instead just embrace your body at this plus size. And I noticed immediately when Ozempic got out, a lot of these celebrities and these influencers started taking Ozempic. So I think it is a little hypocritical, and the body positivity movement is definitely dying because of Ozempic. And what's interesting too, and I know this can get kind of controversial to be honest, but a lot of these women claimed that they were just born this way, when they had these obese, I'm just being honest, obese, very plus size bodies. And they claim that they were born this way. There's nothing you can do about it. This is who they are and they have to embrace it. And so no one, you look at example airplanes where it's they're asking for these bigger seats to have 2 seats or whatever and have these extensions, and that we were basically discriminating against people if we didn't allow them to have 2 seats for free on the plane. So there's been a lot of these debates, but you look at photos of people from even just 50 years ago and nobody was this size. So I don't think that this is natural that you are this size. I do think in this era, we don't talk enough about the consequences of having a very poor diet and not exercising that does lead to unhealthy body sizes like obesity. And it's interesting that the second Ozempic gets out onto the market, these women are thin and fit. And it because it suppresses your appetite, which just shows that this is normal human biology. If you eat less and move more, you're going to be skinny. I'm not promoting that people take on this anorexic lifestyle, but at the end of the day, being obese is a lifestyle choice that you are making through overeating and under exercising. The minute that it became easy, because being skinny is not easy, right? It does take a lot of effort. It takes, self-control and discipline. The minute that there was an easy way out, these women jumped on it immediately. And now they're skinny. And I think it also shows that people do like to be thinner. It leads to a happier lifestyle. And so I do think that there was a lot of lies perpetuated with the body positivity movement. One, that this is a healthy body to have. It's not. If you are obese, that comes with a lot of horrific side effects with your health, like your heart, cancer. It's very difficult on your body. I don't think it is a happier way to live your life, because I think you don't fit in things as well. You're tired more, you're lethargic, your clothes won't look as good on you. And so I just find it a little hypocritical that the second Ozempic came out, these women jumped on it.
Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels, you guys. I think in Joe Biden's America, everyone was settling for mediocrity in this country. We were handing out participation trophies. Men could compete in women's sports. Body positivity was being glorified, obesity was being glorified in Vogue and Sports Illustrated, and we really lost our way with that. I mean, if you go back to the 90s, if you go back to the 80s when our parents were growing up and we were just born, physical standards were a real thing. You had PE tests where you would have to run an 8-minute mile. Mm-hmm. There was actually standards in our military. You had to be physically fit and meet certain requirements, and also in law enforcement as well. And so we got away with that for 4 years under Biden and Kamala, where we were just completely abandoning standards. And now people, I think, are waking up to being more common sense centered and coming to the realization like these are not healthy habits that I should adopt, and nor should they be normalized in society.
It is an embracing of mediocrity, and like losing weight is not rocket science. I'm not saying it's easy. It is hard to lose weight. As someone who had a baby, and you guys, like we've talked about this before, I gained like 60 pounds when I was pregnant. And then after I had Vivian, like I had a lot of weight to lose. So I've been there, you guys. I'm not coming like from, I am not naturally like someone who is like super skinny. There are people who naturally can eat whatever and stay really thin. That actually is not me. I have to work on my body in order to be like thin and fit. But I will say it does not come easy, but it's a very simple solution. You eat less and you work out more, but it's specifically the diet. And so anyone can achieve, like, I'm not saying you're going to be a Victoria's Secret model, but if you eat a proper amount of calories every day in America, I feel like people eat way too much. There's a huge overeating culture. It's gluttonous. It's gluttonous. And that's like a cardinal sin in the Bible, gluttony. And so we need to start talking about that more in society, that you shouldn't be sitting and just filling your face with food all day. Instead, making healthier choices and not eating as much, and then getting out and working your body, and you will not be obese. So I kind of hated this body positivity movement, that it was like settling for this lifestyle that that's not a healthy lifestyle. And it's also, you're not born this way.
I also really saw this peak during COVID when people really just didn't have any self-discipline anymore because nothing was expected of them because, everything was shut down. They weren't having to go to work. They could easily go on, work calls on their Zoom and turn the camera off. They weren't getting outside, so they used that as an excuse not to be active. And so we really saw this decline, I feel like, in 2020. And then obviously, during that presidential admin, like we just saw it across the board in Hollywood. They were propping up obesity and these horrific lifestyle trends. We saw this obviously not only film, but with Elle, with Vogue, with all of these magazines. And so young ladies, this is not something to look up to at all. It actually takes a lot of self-discipline in order to make sure that you're in the best physical shape you can possibly be in and feel your best in that regard too. And so that's actually like something that you should aspire to have, is like more self-discipline in your daily routines. Just being obedient in that regard, setting more standards for yourself. Wake up, make your bed, set a morning routine, Bible, journal, make time to like go on a walk, like prioritize yourself more and prioritize yourself in the way that's healthy.
This is another controversial thing to say about Ozempic. I feel like it's a really telling thing in society where we are at, that people are now relying on a drug in order to not be obese. Like there's a big portion of society doing that. And it's like, these are lifestyle decisions you can make without a drug. And I'm not necessarily saying ban Ozempic or whatever. I'm not like coming out against Ozempic, but I do think it's a sad state of society that now people take a drug just to be, trimmer. And you look throughout all of human history and we didn't deal with these the obesity epidemic that we're dealing with today. So I think it's a sad state of society. But, I'm not necessarily against Ozempic, you guys.
Well, and I also think it's just the culture of like what bodies are aspirational. Like you call it the Kardashification of society, where like there are these really unnatural body standards where you have to have the curves in the right areas and you have to almost have like that hourglass figure where you're thicker and like your bottom part of your body, and it really doesn't make any sense. So it probably puts a lot of pressure on like postpartum women. I also know a lot of people on Ozempic who use it to curb cravings if they're like addicts too.
Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see our new shows every single Wednesday.